Hi everyone, I hope you are doing well. I'm back with one interesting video on external ID fields. Sometimes we tend to know the complex things, big things, but we forget about basic, simple foundation things. Because people are unprepared for such questions. They prepare Apex, flows, LWC, integration, and whatnot. And when they get such basic question around external ID field, they get completely blank because they are totally unprepared for these things. So in this video, you are going to have crystal clear idea on external ID fields. So stick with me. So for those people who don't know what is an external ID field, it is basically a simple ID field which will be used as a primary key or a unique identifier for your data mapping between Salesforce and third-party system or database. Okay, so this is basically just ID field, but that will be acting as a unique identifier to map data between two systems. Okay, now the question is, can you create an external ID field without checking the unique checkbox and vice versa? So basically, when you create any field that is an external ID field, there is one more checkbox below it that is unique. Okay, now the question is, can you create an external ID field which is not unique and vice versa? So many people have some sorts of random assumptions. They think that these two things go together and they must be checked together to make things work. But the real answer is yes, you can create an external ID field without the unique checkbox, and you can also have a unique field that is not marked as an external ID, vice versa. So basically, yes, you can create an external ID without making it unique. But the follow-up question that occurs after it is more important. What is the specific use case of making a field as an external ID but leaving unique unchecked? Now this is where people get stuck. Now we know that external ID is used for mapping and all, but what is that specific use case where you have to leave the unique unchecked? Because leaving unique unchecked means you are going to have duplicate data with the same external ID. So it means two or more records can have same external ID. So it means you no longer have any unique identifier on your Salesforce record, right? So when do we allow this condition to happen? When do we allow this in Salesforce? So the answer is when you are migrating dirty data. Basically, when your source system, means the third-party system, is having some duplicate values and you don't want the import to fail. So in that case, you cannot mark unique, right? So if you want to get done with this migration activity but your data is dirty, in that case you have to leave unique unchecked. This is the one reason, and which is very practical. Then the second is one-to-many relationships. Now people think about only one-to-one relationships, so that's why they think that only one record should exist for one ID. But there is a use case of one-to-many relationship where this is allowed. Now what do I mean by one-to-many relationship? Now multiple Salesforce records can exist for the same external system record. Are you getting? So for example, there is one customer ID in external system, but in Salesforce you can have multiple contacts for it. So in that case, your external ID will be mapped across multiple records. Correct? So that is the use case of one-to-many relationships. So in that case, you can have same external ID on multiple records. So this is the use case when this is allowed. Okay. And the third is you are using it temporarily to import the data, and then you are going to do deduplication later on. So you just want to complete the mapping first in Salesforce, and then you are going to deduplicate the data later on. In that case, this is allowed. Okay. So this is how you have to answer this question. What is the specific use case of making a field as external ID but leaving unique unchecked? This is very important question. Okay, very few people can answer this. Very few people know all these things. 99% people think that your external ID is always unique, and then they just shut down the follow-up questions. And when they say that your external ID is always unique, then they show that how less knowledgeable they are in terms of data integrity and data architecture. Okay, so keep all these points in mind. Then one more interesting thing interviewers add on top of this. Okay, now you know that this is allowed in some cases, but what are the implications of making a field as external ID but not checking unique? What are the implications? What are the problems that we are going to face? So basically Salesforce is not going to prevent duplicate values now. Okay, now the real impact is your upserts are going to be risky. Now Salesforce is going to get same external ID on multiple records, okay, and when you will try to upsert that data, then you are going to get an error. Okay, now people think that if I have same ID on 2 records, it is going to update those both records. That is completely wrong. It is not going to update those both records. It is going to fail. It is going to give you an error. Okay, so your upserts are going to fail basically. So this use case is only applicable when you are migrating legacy data that already has duplicates. But if you expect that your system has clean data and Salesforce should also have clean, like deduplicated unique data, then you cannot leave this unchecked. So these are implications of it if you leave that unchecked. Okay, now the second question that gets bombarded on you after you are gone through this confusing series of questions, this is something different. Okay, this is very few people know, like people who have strong foundational knowledge of Salesforce, they know that, they know the answer. So the question is, everyone knows external ID fields are used for integrations and upserts, basically mapping between two systems. Okay, what is that one capability of external ID that has absolutely nothing to do with integrations? Now we all know the basic use case of external ID, why this is used. But apart from that, but beyond that, what is that one capability? What is that one extra use case of external ID? The answer is indexing. When you mark any field as an external ID, Salesforce will automatically create a custom index on that field behind the scenes. So you know custom index on field, what it means? So wherever you have index on the field, that field is more powerful than any other field. So if you don't know what indexing is, read more about it. So important thing is, when you mark any field as an external ID, it gets an index automatically. It becomes a custom index automatically. And why this is helpful for you? Because your SOQL queries, if you use that field in your SOQL query, they are going to be fast and optimized, and they're going to run significantly faster. Okay, and you are not going to get timeout errors. Basically everything is going to be optimized because your field is suddenly custom indexed, right? And the third thing is, you don't need to raise a case with Salesforce support to make a field custom index, because you marked it external ID. So you basically you got it free and instantly. Now this is very important point. Okay, so very few developers can pull out this move. If something in Salesforce production, or if in any org, something in system is failing due to the large data volume, and you don't have time to raise a request with Salesforce support. So this happens in many production instances, this happens in many projects and many real-time business use cases. They don't have time to raise a case with Salesforce support, and they just need the solution now when the systems are stuck, people are stuck, and they just want things to be fixed. So in that case, some bright developer would think about this idea: we can't wait for Salesforce support to make a custom index. Let's mark some ID field as an external ID, and then instantly your queries are optimized, your code is not breaking, your flow is not breaking, and the system is smoothly running again. So very few bright developers know this trick, that if you are urgently needing a fix in terms of large data volume, you can pull out this move if you don't want to wait till Salesforce support to mark any of your field as a custom index. Okay, so this is very important trick, and very few seasoned developers know this. These were 4 important questions around external ID. I have shared few important things with you in this video. So do like this video, drop your comments in the comment section, subscribe to my channel, and if you want to get in touch with me for interview preparation or training related inquiries, then you can check the description and comment box for more details. There you will find something where you can get in touch with me. Thank you.